Hey guys, I'm Duncan Cockfoster.
I'm Griffin Cockfoster.
We do Nifty Gateway. Our goal is to make it radically easier to buy NFTs. And yeah, today we're going to be giving a little bit a talk about the endowment effect, our views on NFTs, and talk a little bit about Nifty Gateway. Yeah, so I guess to start things off, I don't know who's familiar with the endowment effect, but it's a simple psychological principle where when you own something, you value it much more highly, as my chart clearly shows. Basically, it shows up when you ask people like how much they're willing to sell something for. If it's theirs, they expect much more money to part with it. And it also shows up when they're asked about digital goods. Numerous studies show that people they're not willing to pay as much for digital goods because they don't feel like they have a true sense of ownership over them, because those digital goods don't have an endowment effect. Just another goal of mine, I want to bring in some like fancy science terminology. So when people ask about NFTs, we can say, oh yeah, they're valuable because of science. They're backed by numerous studies and stuff like that. So anyway, I think when we think about digital goods and when we think about non-fungible tokens, we have to think about the context in which they developed. My view of non-fungible tokens is that they're a technology that radically improved something that already existed, which is digital goods. An example or a parallel I like to draw here is imagine payments before the telegrams. It was really hard to send a payment across the country, right? And then eventually, all of a sudden, there was a way to send messages instantly from one part of the country to another part of the country, and that radically changed payments technology. And it created a whole bunch of new applications, a bunch of new businesses got built. That's the way I view non-fungible tokens. Digital goods have always existed, but they've always had this big problem, which is that people don't feel like they own them. So they're not really willing to value them highly. Non-fungible tokens came along, and they solved that problem by giving digital goods an endowment effect, because people actually feel like they own non-fungible tokens, but they don't really feel like they own centralized digital goods. And so yeah, I think it's really important to put this technology in the context of what came before it, so we can better understand it and better predict where it's going, basically. So if this were true, if non-fungible tokens are a version of digital goods that had an endowment effect, what would we expect to see? Well, I put up a little example. A lot of people have been talking about collectibles today, have talked about, Magic the Gathering is one of the most famous collectibles. And Magic the Gathering, it's a popular game. A lot of people enjoy playing it. There's a lot of different figures for how many people play it on a regular basis, but it's less than Fortnite. And yet one Magic the Gathering card sold for $80,000. The rarest Magic the Gathering card sold for $80,000. Fortnite has 80 million monthly active users, and there's no Fortnite item that's worth that much. There's no Fortnite item that could be worth anywhere close to that much, because people wouldn't be willing to exchange that much currency and that much value for something that they didn't really feel like they own. So that's the way I see non-fungible tokens, and that's how I think that they can add value to digital goods. So basically, this is the point I'm trying to make here. Centralized digital goods have a price ceiling. NFTs, you can make an NFT that's potentially worth millions of dollars. If you could figure out a way to generate $1 million worth of utility for a digital good, then people would be willing to pay you $1 million for it because they know that they would be able to keep it. They would have that sense of true ownership over it, and it would be worth giving up a ton of money to get that non-fungible token. So also a little game I played with myself before this talk. I thought about what would a $1 million non-fungible token look like? If you guys have any ideas and if you think of one that might be worth $1 million, just use your imagination. A good one I came up with, a Kanye West Fortnite skin, right? I think that could be worth $1 million. I mean, Kanye's pretty famous. Look at how much his sneakers sell for. Or a Supreme Fortnite skin. If you made 3 of those, and you got Fortnite to work with you, I mean, who knows? The sky is the limit. But in conclusion, basically what I want to say, digital goods have always existed. They've always had this big problem, which is people don't feel a sense of ownership over them, so they're not really willing to value them. But now that's changed, because non-fungible tokens exist. And really I think that the important thing to take away from that is that people are going to be able to spend a lot more resources creating valuable digital goods. If digital goods can't hold value, then you're not going to be able to spend a lot of money to make good ones. You're not going to be able to really invest in good ones. Now that digital goods can hold value, we're going to see all sorts of experiences based on digital goods that we've never seen before. And yeah, we're going to see, it's going to be a whole new world. So yeah, now I'm going to, we also want to talk briefly about Nifty Gateway, which is the product we're building, and Griffin is going to say a few words about that.
Yeah, so thank you guys. I know we're not the only identical twins in the crypto space, but we've never been sued by Mark Zuckerberg, so that's good. Yeah, so Nifty Gateway, it's been mentioned a few times, but our whole mission is accessibility. We want to make collecting Nifties so easy your grandma could do it, and we're laser focused on getting this done. Right now we have a buy button where anyone can buy, if you're making an NFT project, you can add it to your website, and anyone can buy your NFTs with just a credit card. So we're super excited, we're super bullish on the space. We believe digital worlds will be more important than the real world in a very short time frame. We think it's going to happen a lot faster than anybody thinks. So our mission is to get 1 billion people collecting NFTs. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and yeah, we want to open it up to any questions. If you guys have questions you want to ask us about Nifty Gateway, about the endowment effect, anything. Yes. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Payment processors they hate crypto. As to why, there's a few different reasons. A lot of the payments world is like slightly complicated. Even if you have the credit card payment networks on board, you still need to get a bank on board, which like complicates the situation. So the Visa and MasterCard are not really the ones preventing this from happening. The people preventing it from happening are really the banks that you need to process those payments. I think a lot of banks are scared of cryptocurrency because partly they don't want to be they don't want a new currency system to replace the fiat currency system. It really does serve them well. They make a lot of money off of it. But other than that, they're really just they're risk averse. They're small c conservative by nature, and they're not going to do something until it's been established and until they really understand that. So it took us a long time. We really had to talk to a lot of banks before they understood what a non-fungible token was, and before they understood the difference between that and cryptocurrency. So I guess my advice for you is if you're in the non-fungible token space, don't go and say, yeah, we're building non-fungible tokens, but it's not the same as cryptocurrency. Go and say, hey, we're building digital goods. Digital goods can be based on any kind of database. These are based on a blockchain network. Blockchain networks host a variety of different applications, and they'll be much more open to an argument like that because they understand digital goods much more than they understand cryptocurrency, and they're much more open to digital goods. So those are my thoughts on payments. On Google, you should just be able to Google Nifty Gateway.
Yeah, the first result.
We're on Twitter. That's our best way to keep up with us, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
One
more.
Yeah, right now it's just on Ethereum. We don't. Right now, all you can do is buy with fiat currency, but we are looking into more features like that, like swaps, for instance. Yes. Yeah, so in order to get the payment processors to work with us, we did have to say, we're not going to sell cryptocurrency. Selling cryptocurrency is actually explicitly banned by Visa and MasterCard. They explicitly ban it in their terms of service. So that's a much more difficult task, and they're going to have to reverse their positions before someone can do it in an above-board way. So yes, right now it's only digital goods and non-fungible tokens. But if you have a question about what meets that definition, just come talk to us. You can email me, Duncan@niftygateway.com.